Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life, that there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad. It is this feeling that has brought you to me. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Hello and welcome. I'm Sophia and I'm here today with Eli Jackson Bear, founder of the Leela Foundation and the Leela School of Awakening. Eli has written many books on the topic of awakening, including a new edition of his memoir, An Outlaw Makes It Home, The Awakening of a Spiritual Revolutionary, which is out now. Hi, Eli. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Sophia.
So today we'll be discussing the popular sci-fi film The Matrix, which came out in 1999 and I can't believe is that long ago, and is now really woven into the matrix of our popular culture. We're going to talk about how this relates to awakening and how we can stay true in the face of the matrix.
Beautiful. So first, so what is the matrix exactly? It's a global thought form. It's a global transinduction. Everyone is participating in it, interconnected to it, and believing in it, and living and dying in it, as if it's reality. We're living in an as-if world.
Yeah, beautiful. I really was like looking forward to hearing you put it in your words. This is how Morpheus says it in the movie, and he says,
Do you want to know what it is? The matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. What truth? That you are a slave, Neo. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage, born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison for your mind.
Great.
So profound. Thank you so much for pointing me to this movie, because of course I saw it in the 90s when it came out, and it really spoke to me then. I remember really where I was, because I'd had this awakening with LSD.
Yes.
Soon after that movie came out, and I was Neo,
Yes.
I was on this journey. And now it's like feels full circle, like meeting you.
This is waking up from slavery. Most people don't want to wake up from slavery. They're in the matrix and they're getting their perks. They're getting fed. Their sensory hungers are being satisfied. Not fully, because you always need more. So it's an addiction. And everyone's addicted to the matrix, addicted to this transinduction of who we are, where we are, when we are. And then people want to use I'm saying people, including myself in this, I wanted in the beginning to use my spiritual awakening to change that, to get rid of it, to wake up from it, to have everybody wake up from it. And that became my life mission, was to wake up from the matrix.
Yes, it's really the perfect movie, and I really recommend everyone to watch it with fresh eyes, because I watched it when you recommended it, and it was just wow, it's so brilliant, it's so spot on in so many ways.
Yes.
And you say, I have a quote here from you actually, and I love this, how it's relevant, is that you said most people don't want to wake up from the dream, they want a better dream.
Yeah.
And this is the point. They don't. It's like that character Sci-Fi in the movie. He actually makes a deal with Agent Smith to go back, because he wants his perks.
I know this steak doesn't exist. I know that when I put it in my mouth, the Matrix is telling my brain that it is juicy and delicious. After 9 years, you know what I realize? Ignorance is bliss.
Yes, so most of us make that deal without even knowing it. We're doing it in a sleepwalking fashion without even knowing there's a choice. We never knew there's a choice to choose truth. We didn't know it was possible to wake up from slavery because we were already in the matrix trance that we are awake and we are free and we can do what we want and we have free will. And all of that is just a part of the mind control.
Yes. And I love this word, the matrix. I love matrix. I mean, I probably could have looked up the meaning of the word, but it's like a web. It's like this
That's right.
matrix and it's intricate. And somehow when I think of that word, I think of a mother's womb and I think of how we're steeped in this matrix of our own mother and then the Mother Earth. We're steeped in the matrix of the Mother Earth. And all these matrices that our own, in a way, I want to say personal, but as you know, it's not personal.
Our personal is included. It's not separate.
Okay, yeah. True.
Everything's included. That's what makes it, even in this room, that's what makes it permeable and, in all directions. It's the matrix of the field. It's the field we're in. It's like the Earth's atmosphere. We can't live outside the Earth's atmosphere, but we don't see it, and we don't know it's there, but it's what keeps it all together.
Yes, and this is really what's so important, actually, with this topic, I feel, is that what I've understood with this movie in popular culture is that the matrix is, the government and the work, going to work and being slaves in society. And while there's an element of that, that's not really what you're speaking of at all. And that's where it's in a way been, somehow that's what people think. Like I remember, I think it was just before COVID, this group popped up on Facebook called Leaving the Matrix. And it was really about people wanting to go off grid because they were so terrified of, the government. And then you get all these conspiracy theories coming out of that and all this sort of stuff. And
being terrified of the government is actually a very useful part of the matrix to keep you asleep. It's like everybody sees the corruption of government, particularly in the United States right now. We can see the end of democracy, the end of the republic. We can see where it's gone, how it's gone. And if you have any perspective, you can see the flow, how it started. And all of that is looking at the wrong thing, as if that has any significance. That has significance in the quality of life in the matrix, but it has nothing to do with leaving the matrix. So fighting the government is still part of the matrix. So overthrowing the government is part of the matrix. It's all within the web. To leave the web is a radical statement to, give up your identity as a slave, give up the perks of slavehood, to find the truth, to find freedom, to find the light. And the traps along the way is people in the church find the light and call it Jesus and believe it's a certain somebody who's going to look after them and take care of them. And turning that realization of the bliss of, so many people in church go into bliss states and transcendental states, and they have this union experience, but by attributing it to Jesus, you're staying in the matrix. Because all religion is just a cult within the matrix. So then if you fight against the cult, you're still in the matrix.
So how do people step out?
By being willing to find the truth no matter what. By being willing for a jailbreak, a slave rebellion, to be Spartacus. And it's possible. It's possible for everyone to take a stand and be Spartacus, to be the slave revolt. Not by fighting, not by killing off the masters, because the masters are slaves also. They're part of the matrix. The master-slave relationship, interchangeable. They're both aspects of slavery, and usually, very often, the slaves have a better time than the masters do. On a certain soulful level, not on a material level. Because the more the master sells out to the material, the more they lose the soul. And so slaves can't sell out that way. They have not much to lose, and so they're more soulful in many ways, many times. Which is why we identify with slaves.
True. And really, in a way, this is the perfect topic for me personally right now, coming out of, we just did a Leela School retreat that was so deep and transformative. And I was driving back and I kept saying to my partner, is this really where we live? Do we live here? Because it was like this whole veil of complaining and identity and my own suffering was overshadowed, my own matrix, that I couldn't actually see the incredible beauty of where I live in this country town. And as we drove into our driveway, it was the same. I kept looking at my garden and saying, is this our place? Is this my garden? And I've done an incredible garden. I've put so much love and hours of work a day. It's my favorite thing, really, into this garden. And so I know that, but still that I couldn't see it. This veil had really been removed.
Beautiful. Yes.
By your grace and really by the grace of, by the grace of life. And it's like that. It's like our own matrix we get to wake up from deeper and deeper, like layer and layer and layer, as you said to me. And I'm so grateful for that it just keeps going deeper, because it really does. And there's more to see, and but like you always say, that you make that one decision. There's one decision, one final decision. And once that's made, it's made.
That's right. You can't unmake it. You can't. You can betray it, though. You cannot stay true to that decision. And that's self-betrayal. And that usually gets justified by an elaborate story of justification of who and why and when and what. And this happened, and so I didn't. And that happened, so I did. And it becomes related to external circumstances. And then you're back in the matrix, because you're now in relation with the matrix instead of with yourself.
Totally, yeah. And then we use that as an excuse because, the matrix is pulling me back because the whole world's, like you say, going downstream, or upstream or whatever it is, and then it's taking a stand in that. And you can, you don't at all have to be a victim. Yes, it's all there, isn't it? It's all, the truth is out there.
It's in the middle of the marketplace.
Yeah. So it's hard to, in a way, talk about this movie without bringing up the blue pill, red pill. Which I, of course, when I watched this was like, that psychedelics is talking about the red pill being to awaken. It's got to be the psychedelics, and the blue pill going back to sleep.
And that's the choice of a lifetime, the blue pill or the red pill. You make that choice, you can't go back. It's like once you've taken the psychedelic, you can't say, oh, I think I've changed my mind. It's like childbirth. You're not going to stop.
There's no way back from that.
No way back.
And the other thing that came up watching this was AI. I don't know much about AI. I'm in an age now where I feel like it's really here and it's coming. And, again, this movie, that's what they're talking about. This is, AI, and so brilliant because it was so long ago now, almost 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah. But it's here, it's now AI is here. So I'm wondering what your perspective is on AI.
Just reading a very interesting article on robotics and how the robots are learning. And it used to be like when the first AI could beat a Go master. And Go is a really complex, abstract game. So when the first machine could do it, it did that by learning, by watching all the games that were played and learning how to do it. and then using that. But that generation is long gone. Now it learns by playing itself. And in playing itself, it's coming up with moves that no one has ever made before. Brilliant moves that it's creating through its own dialogue with itself. So it's learning from repetition, and it's a whole different world. It's happening really fast. So AI into robotics is what we're going to see, and who knows where that's going to go? I have no idea.
Yeah. And is it really, do you think it's just like everything, that everything can be a medicine or a poison? You think it's really like it has this potential to be, used for wonderful breakthroughs for whatever, healthcare or, life-changing things?
Oh, AI can already do superior diagnosis to doctors. They've done tests with it. And so they did 3 tests, three groups, 1 doctors without AI, 1 doctors with AI assistance, and 1 with just AI. Just AI by far superior. The ones where the doctors had the AI assistance, they overlooked the AI assistance because they were sure they were right. And so they didn't do as well. It's like, so the AI is already a better diagnostician. And this is just the beginning, it's like it's just in infancy. So yeah, and the same AI could be simultaneously doing hospital work while it's blowing up another country or its own country.
Wow. Yeah, it really feels like we're moving into a new age. And
yeah.
Is that something to fear? I mean, what's the point, of that? But I see so many people are really scared of.
That's just scaring yourself with something you can do nothing about, That's like being afraid that the train's going to blow up. I mean, well, maybe it will, maybe it won't, but you're going to get on it because it's your time,
Yeah.
So people have paranoid fantasies that they scare themselves with.
That's right.
Based on a taste of the truth of reality of what is here,
Yeah. Yeah, it's infinitely humbling.
Infinitely humbling. And the Decline of the West, that book? Oswald Spengler, writing around the time of the First World War, 1920s. He was the first person who saw that societies are organic organisms with the same characteristics as biology, and that it starts out as a small culture, and from the culture it grows into a bigger organism, maybe a clan, and then a tribe, and then a civilization, and then the civilization turns into an empire, and then the empire starts to build until it starts to collapse in on itself. And as the empire collapses in on itself, he says there's a 200 years of Caesareanism, where there's this totalitarian executive running the show for 200 years until the final collapse of Western civilization, where it all drops back down into chaos. And so, and he predicted, this is Spengler, the First World War, he predicted that around the year 2000, Western civilization will have reached its peak and will start declining into this neo-Caesareanism, where there's strong rulers running the government. And that's going to go on for 200 years.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Buckle up, I guess.
Buckle up.
Buckle up for the ride.
Yep. And, and you can see it coming, I mean, it really...
Yeah, Yeah, it's here. It's happening. And
yeah,
I can definitely feel some fear around that, No one wants to live in a totalitarian society,
Yeah.
But
yeah. And then what do you do? So like growing up, I used to hate the good Germans who just stood by and let Hitler do his thing. I had such, strong emotional thing about that. But now I'm a good German. I realized that during the Vietnam War. That's why I gave my life to stopping it, because I couldn't bear to be a good German. But now here I am. My country's starting to become a dictatorship, and hey, there's nothing I can do except stay true to myself and pass on the truth.
Yeah, that's I share a similar path with, activism. I was an environmental activist when I was younger. And then at one point I just was burnt out from it. And so, burnt out, depressed. And I really that's when I discovered, psychedelics and meditation ultimately, and an awakening. And I really saw that it was, the revolution was here, the revolution, the true revolution was here. But I really take my hat off to activists. I think that's obviously really important as well. I'm not built that way. I'm not built like that.
Well, you did it.
Yeah.
You did
Yes,
it.
maybe that's an excuse or something. I'm not sure, but I'm also a good German.
Yeah. But you did the activism when it was your appropriate time. See, the whole spiritual movement in the United States, I've watched it from the beginning, before there was one, when there were no gurus, there was no meditation, there was no environmental action, there was no organic food, there was no, So I've watched it come in. And I remember when I was in maximum security in Washington during the attempt to stop the government during the Vietnam War. And the man in the cell next to me was Rennie Davis. And Rennie Davis was one of the Chicago organizers of the Chicago demonstrations in '68. And they made a great movie out of that recently, which I really recommend if you're into that kind of thing, where, what's his name? The English comedian plays Abby Hoffman. Anyway, so I saw him next cell in maximum security. Then the next time I heard of him, he'd just come back from India. And I had went from that cell to Peru. So it's like the political activists who went all the way to the end either started building bombs or they went to find something else, something deeper. And that's what brings the gurus to America and everything else, And so it was useful. It was useful on that hand. On the other hand, it also, you see, we consciously wanted to bring down the empire, and we did. And this is the result.
Yes. Yeah, and there'll be people now that are called for that, They'll be called, for activism in their ways right now. And it's just being true, isn't it? Being true to whatever call is here.
Yes, just staying true to yourself.
Mm.
No judgment or blame.
Mm. 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 I love the way you show up.
Yeah.
It's just so beautiful, For decades, you're just here. Like, you say yes to love, and it's just so touching. And I really received that from you.
Thank you. And, life goes on, and there are tests and challenges and successes and failures, but all that happens in the realm of the dream. And so it's a waking dream.
And can I ask one question, actually? Because something you said a while ago, talking about this radical, like this partly why, I love you and I love your story, because it's radical. Like you woke up in this cabin and that was it. You left your old life behind, you walked out of that cabin and it was a whole new thing. And you said to me once, because we were talking about it, and you said it was a different time, it was the 70s, wasn't it? The 70s. And it is a different time, but in a way it's like I could still be radical like that now, couldn't I?
You have to be. Time and circumstances inevitably flow, but what doesn't is your tests of your will and willingness, how deeply you're staying true to yourself, and what that requires. So that's always the same.
Yeah. Okay, good. Because I think I use that maybe as an excuse. Oh, yeah, it's a different time,
Well, you can't repeat that. That's over. It's dead. But you do so this time you do it this way.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and that's really just about being honest, isn't it? Just being honest about.
Yes.
what I love, and
then staying true to it, staying true to yourself,
yeah.
no matter what. Yeah.
So good.
Thank you so much, Sophia. So much fun.
See you soon. Lots of love.